Welcome to day 2 of Shoptalk Europe. Please welcome today's opening keynote, Frans Muller, CEO of Ahold Delhaize, for a presentation. He will then be interviewed by Shoptalk's Vice President of Content, Laszlo.
A very good morning to you. I hope you had a great evening and an inspiring day yesterday. And it's a great start for me to be together with you to talk a little bit more about retail. And of course, I'm also looking forward to the Q&A session later on with Joe himself. Let's have a look and let's have a start. 155 years ago, you see here a stage out of the 70s, but we are already in business more than 150 years. And you might think, well, this is a little bit awkward, you know, this picture with those stores there. But there are a few things which are so important still for us today. Those were entrepreneurs. Those were people with a very curious mindset. Those were folks who are laser focused on the customer. They had very strong values, and we still inherit those type of elements. And I think that's one of the reasons, those 4 dimensions, why we are still in business. And that's hopefully we will stay in business for a long time. So it might look a little bit awkward for you, those slides, but a lot of innovation there. Ahold Delhaize is our Dutch brand, was the first brand in Europe to introduce self-service in supermarkets. Delhaize, our brand in Belgium, was the first brand who looked very deep into self-service, buffets, delicatessen and fresh. And we were by far the first home delivery business in food online in the US. So those people, courageous, entrepreneurial, they also made the decision, both independently from each other, decades ago, to go to the US and open businesses there. And our business, in the meantime, has 60% share in the US. So have a look at where the company is in the meantime. A company which is a strong company in sales. We are a strong retailer in Europe and in the US. And I'm very proud also about our associates, our employees who navigated us through COVID, who did a marvelous job there, who stuck together in very difficult times. But I'm also very proud about our Dow Jones Sustainability Index, where we're number 1 in Europe and number 1 in the US. And I'm very proud also about our MSCI, the Morgan Stanley Sustainability Index, where we also went now from single A to double A. Because those elements, sustainable, durable, long-term vision, are not only important for analysts, but also very important for our associates and our customers, that they know that they buy with a good business, that they work for a company with purpose. So you can read for sure much faster than I can talk, but you see here a number of elements where we're proud about. And one thing we are very proud about is also our own brand, our private label proposition. In Benelux, 50% of our shares, and in the US, roughly 30%. Let's have a look, because you only can stay in business when you also understand the dynamics of the business. And we know we are in a fierce period of change. Change with the consumer, change in society, change with competitors. And the market landscape is changing quite fast. And of course, also in this landscape, you also keep experimenting. And in this landscape, we also talk about the things which are for us and for our business important, and what we can do there to make it for customers more convenient, to make it for customers more relevant, and to making sure also that we give customers time back for things they find more important in life. So a lot of developments there, and let me pick out two things here. We are now in a situation where we have more inflation in food than we saw in the last decades. That is worrisome. That's not so easy for customers to deal with. Not everybody is having privileged communities and environments. So it's our job also as a retailer to negotiate those prices clearly so that we can give the best price to consumers, also in times of high inflation. And also the trust base of consumers and the drive for value in a high inflationary environment is for us also an interesting challenge to deal with. Our private label help us there with price entry propositions, and we do a pretty good job there because our private label shares grow in these kind of times. So dynamics here, important for us, And what is also very important for us here in these kind of difficult times, that our partnerships with our technology partners, our partnerships with our CPG, FMCG partners are also developing quite well. That you stay connected on to deal with the supply chain challenges, to deal with the IT and digital challenges, to deal with data privacy and legislation and regulation, but also to make sure that you find together solutions for that joint customer you would like to serve in the best way possible. So yeah, I just talked about the portfolio, 60% in the US. You might recognize a few of those brands, although we here at Shoptalk Europe, we have 6 strong brands in the US. And in all our brands, if it's in Europe or in the US, we're number 1 or 2 in the position in their marketplaces. And you might recognize those, and you see on the right far end, with a small arrow, you see Super Indo. We're very proud of that smaller brand. That is not a brand based in Somalia, but it's a brand based in Indonesia. So that's just to correct the map here. You might recognize from Europe a few brands here. We have Maxi in Serbia, market leader. We have Mega Image in Romania, Alpha Beta in Greece. Then we have Delhaize, of course, in Belgium. And we have 4 brands, or 5 brands, if you will, in the Netherlands with Ethos, Gal & Gal, Albert Heijn, and Bol.com. We talk about those later on because I would like to give you a few examples. I would like to talk with you about those ecosystems. How can we make the business for customers more reliable, more efficient, more relevant, and more convenient? And hopefully, by the end of the presentation, you got some insights how we try to deal with this, but also what our challenges are, because it's not so easy in this space, which is so dynamic, with continuously changing customer needs to make that happen. We would like to talk a little bit about, mainly about our ecosystems in the Benelux, but we also have now on experiment here a test in New York where we're going to bring 2 brands together. The Stop & Shop brand, which is an omni-channel supermarket brand in the boroughs of New York, together with Fresh Direct, a company we bought in the beginning of 21, a pure player in fresh, known for quality, known from delicatessen, known from very high punctuality, and they're number 2 in Manhattan. And we would like to bring those brands together because a lot of consumers do not have only pure play requirements, but also would like to combine this with a store network, so this omni-channel. And when we talk about omni-channel, this is in our language as a company already for 15 years. And a lot of people told me, supermarkets will not be there anymore. It will only be an online food business. And we said, no, this is not how this will develop. This will develop into an omni-channel world. If you come from pure play food, or if you come from a store-based food, in the end you will have an omni-channel world. So let's talk a few things about the Benelux here. Because the Benelux is a very interesting market, and Fresh Direct is the test which is going on now, and we will report to you later in the year when we bring those brands together, and also for the New York customer, have a better proposition. Then, jumping to the Benelux. You might recognize the logos. On the left you see Albert Heijn, which is by far the number 1 in the Netherlands with a 38% market share, a store network of 1,100 stores, already omni-channel online proposition for a long time. Albert Heijn is the market leader also in online, has roughly a 10% penetration in online, and serving a lot of customers. What is important here to see, and that is also a little bit our heritage, that for a long time we were the first ones to introduce loyalty systems and loyalty cards for decades ago. And in all our our supermarket brands, we have roughly a 70% share of carded sales. And come back to that later, because you know that data and first primary data are so important, and 70% carded sales. Bol.com is our non-food platform in the Benelux. Strong leader in the business there. We are very proud about that company, both in Belgium and the Netherlands, both in the French and Dutch-speaking world. 140 million online visits every month, and more than 42 million products. It's a 3P platform, so they also work with 45,000 partners on their platform. A very strong proposition, a good last mile, and a very reliable product. And people see this is our Benelux brand in online general merchandise. And then, of course, Delhaize on the right-hand side, 750 stores, 25% market share, and also they're a strong player in the Belgian market. And you ask then, what do you have in mind here? We think there's a big opportunity here to bring more convenience to customers and to be more relevant even by combining those worlds. The bol.com general merchandise world with the supermarket world, which is mainly omni-channel food. And then if you see then the pictures, it's quite interesting, right? I mean, you see on the left-hand side the Albert Heijn and Bol, and in the middle in green what they share on number of customers. And on the right-hand side, this for Belgium with Delhaize and with bol.com. And you see that we have an enormous opportunity of customers which I feel are underserved, who already buy with Bol, but don't buy yet with Albert Heijn, or the other way around, buy already with Delhaize and do not buy with Bol. So this opportunity is much bigger than we thought. We did a lot of research here, of course, to understand that opportunity. And for those who take pictures about my slides, that's of course very fine. That's of course very fine. But we also will post all the slides on the website. So you also later on can see this in good PDF quality, so that we also can share this. There's no secrets here. We just share this with you for good reasons. For joint learning, because we also believe that sharing in the industry is now so important to understand that customer better. So you see here a huge opportunity, high online shares, leading brands, and we're now going to bring them together. And we would like to bring for that customer more ease, more convenience, and that would look like this. We are going to connect those shopping experiences. And one thing we have to find out, because we might be 155 years in business, but of course we do not know everything yet. We have to find out if in food shopping journey can be easily combined with the general merchandise shopping journey. The cool thing about food is that it's such a high frequency, right? So combine the food frequency with food frequency on your general merchandise platform, and general merchandise much lower frequencies because you don't buy sneakers every week, I think, is a thing where you have quite a nice opportunity. But can those journeys be combined? Are they having a very different origin, very different source? Can they be combined? Would customers be excited about combining those journeys? And we think the answer is yes, and that's what you will see later on in this year. So it is a high level of experiment I share with you now. More convenience, more value, but also for customers, more relevance in the end. Because we would like to make it easier, and there are a lot of things you can make it easier. The trip, preparation of the trip, the payment process, giving you some ideas. If you're a good cook and you would like to make your own pasta yourself, then of course we can give you also the machine, through the pasta machine, through bol.com, because we have an assortment of 45 millions, and there are a few pasta machines in that assortment as well. So we can make you that combination, and then we make it very simple. And how does it look like in practice? It looks like in practice like this. We link the accounts. Of course, we have also with bol.com and with Albert Heijn and with Delhaize, we have our loyalty cards. We can connect those loyalty cards. We have our subscription systems for the extra mile. So you pay a certain price, let's say 99 euros, and then the subscription is also covering all your deliveries in a year. And we can combine those things. We have a select program for bol.com, and we have a program also for Albert Heijn, and we can connect. If you buy the one, you also qualify for the other. So make it easy for customers that they can rely on us as an overall company. So 4 building blocks: the linked account convenience, bundling brand subscriptions, the select Albert Heijn and Delhaize programs, the easy checkout with various payment modules, because payments, there's a lot of things happening in payments. It's not only the ideal, it's not only the credit cards, it's not only the debit cards, but there's a lot of mobile payments and all these kind of things, both in-store and online. And we would like to make it easy. When you are already on your mobile phone, we would like to make it easy that that mobile phone is doing everything for you. If it's Delhaize, if it's online, if it's offline, if it's bol.com. And of course, we have quite a big network. If you have an online business in food or a bol.com, which is the leader in the Dutch and Belgian markets, then you have quite some share there of the extra, of the last mile as well. You can use that last mile also to pick up returns. My dream would be, coming from a sustainability perspective, from regulation and from an environment, to combine also food and non-food on one truck. That would be great. An electric truck, of course. These kind of things we're working on now, but you can imagine it's quite complex, right? Frozen, chilled, multi-temp. It's different than books, electronics, or a vacuum cleaner. And we would like to combine these kind of things for that extra mile. Logistically, a huge challenge, but I'm so happy that we have 1,500 people who work on AI, who work on algorithms, who can help us making those deliveries more efficient and at the same time also be more sustainable. What else? A truly relevant experience for our customers because we think we can combine those shopping journeys. We think we can make that combination. And we also think that cross-banner promotions and events are cool for customers, but also very attractive for our CPG, FMCG partners, or for our partners of financial services. And on the right bottom here, you see a platform called Food First, which is our health marketplace advisory platform, because we also believe that food in general must be affordable and accessible for everybody. And we learned during COVID there is a lot more to tell about food, and food can be a very good medicine to stay healthy. Much cheaper than curation, of course. But we also lost a little bit of knowledge over time. What are good and healthy choices? And how can you combine for your specific diet a better choice in our stores? So also there, to bring that advisory, to bring that information, that navigation, how we called it, if it's on the packaging, if it's on the websites, if it's on your mobile, if it's with Bol for food, or if it's with Albert Heijn for the best coffee maker, these kind of things we can combine now very smartly. And of course, we have a lot of technology there, a lot of technology, and digital is going to help us tremendously. And the joint loyalty system. If you shop in the Netherlands and you buy once with Bol and once with Albert Heijn, or in Belgium, Delhaize and Bol, then you would like to have this in a joint system. You would like to save those points. You would like to make sure that you get rewarded for that. And let's not forget that those shopping journeys changed dramatically in the last 10, 12 years. Just an example, 3 years ago, we are a leader on the East Coast in food e-commerce online. 3 years ago, 95% of the business was next day delivery. In the meantime, in 3 years only, it's 60% click and collect same day. Just imagine what an enormous change this is from a customer mindset and customer expectations. What does it mean for a retailer like us to make that whole switch? The good news is that click and collect is more efficient, more economical than that last mile delivery. So it's also good news there, but it's a tremendous change. And that same change is also happening here. You go to the railway station, you pick up your coffee, you order from your desk at the office the delivery for the next day because you have a busy family life and you would like to make sure that the groceries come to you. And in the weekend, of course, you would like to have the experience and to be in store and see the new assortments and buy maybe the full shop for a big part of the week. All those different shopping journeys you would like to do in one brand, in one loyalty system, in one payment system. You would like to save, you would like to be rewarded, and if you buy then your household textiles, or if you buy your coffee machine, you also like to make sure it's all adding up and in the same thing, and that we know which coffee machine you bought, and that we can give you that famous coffee brand as an advisory or as a promotion, because we know that you love coffee. Highly personalized, data-driven will be very important. And one of the other challenges, I mentioned one challenge already before, are those journeys combinable. The other challenge, of course, is how we deal with our data. We are a GDPR company in Europe. We're also almost a sort of GDPR company in the US. And I think data privacy and data security in this data-driven world is very, very important. And just remember, 155 years ago, those entrepreneurs in Belgium and the Netherlands, they talked about values. They talked about trust. And you saw that trust is sometimes at jeopardy with a lot of consumers now. Trust is very, very important. So that is also important for our joint retail media services, which is data-driven. And a few things here. Large media player in the Netherlands and Belgium, we will be with our data. One stop for agencies and brands. So we would like to be a good partner for the agencies as well. We have tailored advertising opportunities for our partners. And we also think that when we have the relevant ads, because we know with primary data our customers very well, that we have relevant ads which are interesting materials for our partners in advertising business and our partners in CPG. That is what we have in mind here. And that is something we would like to make sure that we engineer this in a good way. You will see more of this in New York. You will see more of this in the Benelux coming up soon. We're bringing together great local brands, and we believe in local brands. We bring together omnichannel solutions. Omnichannel solution, what we believe in already for a long, long time. That is the winning proposition. We bring together for customers more convenience, more value, more relevance, based on their changing needs and highly personalized characters. And we would like to make sure that also at the same time, those advantages, the way we operate, is the most sustainable possible. Because that's also a thing where if you're 155 years in business, you have to take care of. I would like to thank you for your attention. I'm looking forward to the Q&A with Joe Laszlo, and I hope that you have a very nice day to come. Take care.
Frans, that was amazing.
You.
Thank you for introducing me too. I feel weird. It's the Shoptalk living room, but the guest had to introduce the host. I also feel weird I don't have tea to serve you. But your presentation was so great and covered so much ground. I'll just stick to one question, I think, which is, curiosity is such an interesting characteristic for a 150-year-old company, and a 150-year-old company in the grocery space, where like nobody was really curious up until the last 2 years forced everybody to suddenly be curious. Can you give an example of how that curiosity has led to an innovation, a specific innovation that's worked really well for Ahold or your brands, and then maybe one that hasn't worked so well?
Yeah, pleasure to share this. We have a decent business in Europe and a decent business in the US, and there's some water in between, as you know. And the markets are very different, but also there we share things. And if you look at the modern times now, then we share algorithms on recommendation, on search, which are or made in the US in our People Digital Labs Chicago office, or made at bol.com, for example. So we exchange there, and that goes better and better. And AI specialists and digital folks, they're happy to share as long as it works. They like the experience. So that is going well. We also shared quite some knowledge on mechanization of DCs, for example. There's a shortage of labor for a long time already. There's a price for labor. There's an availability of labor, which is getting more and more difficult. So we are now in the process of mechanizing our warehouses as well, and we do this now for 10, 15 years. And we paid quite some learning money there. Sometimes a mechanization partner can tell to you, we can make the racking and we can make the automated robots and all these kind of things. And we also can make your your warehouse management systems. But that is a different species, warehouse management systems, we found out with pain. So that's where things did not go well, and we learned from this. But also if you're early in a fully automated fresh warehouse and chilled, fully automated, then you pay some learning money there. So those are two examples where sharing works, where sharing is working because you would like to be ahead of the game, but where you paid some learning money.
Yeah, that's great. I love the idea of technology, knowledge transfer going one way across the Atlantic. And I know Albert Heijn helped Giant Food a lot as they were launching kind of their small format, kind of fancier stores in their territory.
Yeah, that's a cool example. You refer to Heirloom, which is our Philadelphia branded supermarkets, downtown Philadelphia. And they work together with the Albert Heijn folks because our stores in the US are so much bigger. Yep. An Albert Heijn store is roughly 1,500 square meters, 15,000 square feet. A good supermarket in the US, still called supermarket, are 30,000, 50, 60, 70,000 square feet, or 3, 4, 5, 7,000 square meters. So very different formats. Yeah. So the folks in Philadelphia said, well, maybe we are not the expert in a smaller downtown format, called in on the Albert Heijn folks, and they together made a very nice joint project. So we have now 4 or 5 stores in Philadelphia as an Heirloom brand.
That's great. I love that knowledge goes both ways across the Atlantic divide. Last question would be around convenience. You mentioned convenience is something your customers are looking for. I'm sure if we ask the Gorillas or Getir guys, they would be, it's all about speed. It's about 10 minutes, 15 minutes. What do you think convenience means for your customers?
There's a lot of things, a lot of elements on convenience. First of all, it's that we understand them so that, for example, they get offers and promotions which are tailored to their needs. So if you're a vegetarian, then I shouldn't send you a T-bone steak type of offer. That is a minimum requirement, I would say. Convenience in stores, I mean, you can self-check out, digitization, preparing your trip, having, let's say, geofencing, routing in stores. Technology can help us a lot. And the other thing, what is convenience for us, is convenience assortment. And we worked during COVID that a lot of people, well, unfortunately, restaurants and hotels were closed. They had an in-home consumption requirement, and they didn't know how to cook, or they had to learn again to cook, or the children were very excited to learn cooking. So we did a lot of things in food components, in ready-made meals, ready to heat, ready to eat, and we did a lot of things on innovation there in our convenience assortment. So that's another thing. And the third thing, the last thing, what I talked about today, how can you make those shopping journeys more connected, from loyalty, from choice, from cross-selling, and how can you make brands work together on this, which is not always easy, but because our brands are quite strong, they have their own autonomy, they have their own pride, but to combine those, that is also for our company quite a learning experience.
Yeah, that's great. I think that's a great place to wrap things up on. Thank you so much for joining us on stage, Frans.
Thank you very much, Joy.